Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Zero number 8150S-BK. This is a silicone seal from Zero. This is the 8150 profile, a quadruple fin profile. That's going to afford you a lot of surface area when your door closes. Very smart sort of engineering that went into the thought process of basically your door closing. My finger is going to be the door. I'm going to make contact against those fins, but I'm also going to have that little fin give me some return gap as well. It's going to really cover very well. It's going to significantly help prevent the intrusion, even though the drawing's a bit askew. Something's not quite exactly correct. Those two bigger fins are not in a V. They're just parallel to each other. But nonetheless, however they're shown, show that one straight up and show that one that way, and it would be the proper orientation. This happens to be a 12-inch sample piece. So the 8150 is representative of this profile. The S stands for silicone, and then the BK stands for black. Overall width of the base of the material, .508. They're coming up with 0.5. Okay, great. 3/8 of an inch projection. Yeah, sure, I can verify that to be 3/8 from the backside to the tip of the most proud fin. Self-adhesive, a 3M gasketing adhesive on the back. If you have any experience with adhesives, then you may share the opinion that 3M is the best, hands down, no contest. I've tried lots of different adhesives. Every one of them has failed. Depending on the application, 3M will either very begrudgingly fail after a very long service life, or you better be sure you want to use it, because it will tear it. When you pull off something, what's been glued down is staying down. You'll tear the workpiece. Okay? Incredibly durable adhesive from 3M. Incredibly durable. That's what you want on an adhesive product. Because it's not mechanically fastened. You're relying on the chemistry of the adhesive to keep it secured in place. They state that on special orders, ZAG, zero anti-ligature gasketing, can be done. And what they're going to do is they're going to manufacture this in such a way where it will come apart should someone pull on it. Ligature resistant would be the concept of someone peeling it off the frame and using it to harm themselves, is the bottom line. Ligature resistant, you put, I don't recall, but 8 pounds of force and it will just come apart. So be mindful that that is available should you need that sort of application. Okay. Now, installing this material, and there is, first there's a link below this video to the product brochure. Let's take a look at it. What that's going to show you is a bunch of different profiles. Looking at those profiles, I can tell you that the 117 is common. Obviously, the 188 is the most common, the teardrop shape. 8144 is not unheard of. 8145 every once in a while. All the other ones seem to be relatively less common. The 117 is on that list. The closed cell sponge neoprene rolls, those are handy. Believe there are roll length requirements. Some of that stuff's not going to be available in just a 17-foot roll. You might need to buy 50 feet of it, would be my guess. But those shapes are very helpful. Okay. Now, installation of this material, generally you're not going to buy this as a 12-inch piece. This is a sample going to an architect for architectural review for a project. What you're going to end up doing is ordering a roll of it, 17 feet, 21 feet, whatever the size of the door is. 8080 would be 24 feet. Installation of this material is important to understand going into it what's really involved. You're going to have a roll of this material, or maybe you've ordered it. In our site, you can order it as a 3-foot piece and then 2 7-foot pieces. That's 17 feet. You're going to want to make sure the material is cut to length properly. I might even go so far as to give myself a nice miter cut if I can, so that at the header and the jambs, I'm getting a little better coverage than otherwise. You may find that it's really not that simple to cut that on such a miter, but you might be able to concoct a way by which you can attempt that. You pre-measure and then cut the pieces. Absolutely. Definitely measure and then cut them. You're going to be sure that the frame is utterly clean, thoroughly clean, free of any dust and debris. If it has been recently painted or stained, that paint and stain finish needs to be thoroughly cured, at least a week. If you've got a wood frame, wood door, wood frame application, you might want to hit that with a bit of Scotch-Brite, sort of very light abrasive material. Give yourself some additional surface area. Again, make sure it's completely clean. The first time I installed material like this, I was convinced the frame was clean. Did my job, closed the door, came back an hour later to check it. It had detached. I then inspected the frame more clearly, and it was obvious that it could have been a lot cleaner. Pulled the material off, cleaned it thoroughly, utterly, never a problem after that. The reason for cutting the material to length is so that when you get to the end of the run, if you've got anything left over, then you've stretched it. I like to work with a shorter length as I pull the piece, pull the paper backer off. You want to hold it so that you can get it straight, but the fact of the matter is if you stretch it, it's going to resume its natural elasticity and break that bond, even though 3M adhesive is magnificent, to say the least, in terms of its job. People who care about the adhesion of their product will use 3M in the weather stripping business. Not everyone does, that's to be sure. It's important to get this placed down straight because it will look horrible if you have a wavy installation, and I've seen that on hotel frames. It just looks horrible, as if, you had 30 seconds to get the material applied to the frame. You will notice that the 8150 does not carry any smoke, fire, sound, or draft control symbiology on the paper work, so be mindful of that. If you're ordering this material, it's not been tested or rated and certified appropriate for those applications. Okay, be sure to choose one that does. Obviously, the 188, it's smaller 488. The 488 is nicer. It's a smaller version of that typical teardrop because it will compress down just a little bit more than the bigger stuff will. But be mindful to associate your requirement with the proper material. This is going to be installed as they're showing on the rabbit itself. That's really where you're going to see this applied. Applying it to the stop face, probably not. That's 1/2 of an inch on the backer. That overall width is going to be probably closer to 13/16 or 3/4 inch. So to the rabbit is where you're going to see this material. But in the inside corner between the face of the stop and then the rabbit itself. Completely clean, be patient, lots of pressure as you're putting it down. Okay, lots of pressure. You'll be able to close that door. If it's detached, you can reset it immediately. But if it's detached and it's sat for a long time, then it needs to be replaced. Shelf life is generally about 6 months on products with adhesive. Don't order more than you know that you're going to use. Storage is certainly north of 50 degrees and below 100 degrees. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Zero products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the Zero, part number 8150S in a black finish, or any other Zero product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.